My name is Malcolm Horn, and Kim Kennedy will be presenting today's webinar on Women and Money, Taking Charge of Your Financial Future. Together, we'll look at some of the unique financial challenges women can face, and then examine some of the steps you can take to take charge of your financial future. Today's webinar is very educational. We're not going to be talking about any financial products. Kim and I have worked together for over 15 years, helping people plan for retirement. Before we get started, there's some additional resources that I want to make sure that you're aware of. There are other financial advisors within the credit union that present webinars. You can look at the current schedule and feel free to attend any of those. We also produce a podcast on various financial topics, and our website has a lot of financial information if you want to learn about a specific topic. Thank you for listening today. With that, Kim will start today's webinar.
Thanks, Malcolm, and we appreciate everybody joining us today to learn more about women and money. In the past, women may have taken a less active role in financial decision making for a variety of reasons, but today, with more women than ever responsible for their financial well-being and the financial well-being of their families, it's critical that women know how to save, invest, and plan for their future. Women today are well positioned to pursue financial security for themselves and their families. According to statistics, women make up about half of the workforce. Women account for more than half of all workers in management, professional, and related occupations. Women own millions of small businesses. And ladies, we earn the majority of all bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. So the bottom line is that women's clout is significant. But the road to financial security, women often face unique challenges that their male counterparts don't. What are some of the key differences? Women have longer life expectancies. Women generally earn less income and have less savings. Women are more likely to interrupt their careers to raise children or take care of family members. And women may invest too conservatively. Let's look at each of these challenges and their consequences in more detail. First challenge, women have longer life expectancies. According to the most recent statistics, women on average live about 5 years longer than men. Some might say this means women are fortunate, but a longer life expectancy has several financial consequences. Women are likely to spend more years in retirement and will need to stretch their retirement dollars further. And women are more likely to need some type of long-term care as they age, and they may have to face some of their health care needs alone. And married women are statistically likely to outlive their husbands, which means they'll probably have sole responsibility for financial decisions and the final say on the disposition of the marital estate. The irony is that while women need their savings to last longer, they're typically confronted with the other realities that make it harder to accumulate savings and amass sufficient income in later years. Which brings us to challenge number 2. Women generally earn less than men. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, women who work full-time earn about 83% on average of what men earn. This wage gap can impact overall savings, Social Security retirement benefits, and if you're lucky enough to have one, your pension. It also means women are more vulnerable to unexpected economic obstacles, such as a job loss, divorce, single parenthood, illness, or the loss of a spouse. Challenge number 3, women are more likely to take time out of the workforce to raise children or care for other family members, such as aging parents. Sometimes this is by choice, but moving in and out of the workforce has several significant financial implications for women. Lost income and employer benefits like retirement benefits and health insurance. Lost income means less savings. A potentially lower Social Security retirement benefit. Well, this is because what you get at retirement from Social Security is based on the number of years you've worked and the amount you have earned. Economic vulnerability in the event of a divorce or a spouse's job loss. Possibly a more difficult time finding a job or a comparable job in terms of pay, benefits when re-entering the workforce. And even when women do attempt to stay in the workforce, they are much more likely to request flexible work schedules to meet their primary caregiving responsibilities, which can impact their salary and their long-term career advancement. And challenge number 4, women may invest too conservatively to meet their financial objectives. Whether this is due to the fact that women aren't aware of their overall investment options or because they're generally more risk averse, the result of investing too conservatively over a long period of time is an inadequate retirement nest egg and the loss of purchasing power due to inflation. Inflation refers to the increase in the price of goods and services over time. For example, in 1970, a gallon of milk cost $1.32. In 2000, it more than doubled to $2.78. And today, a gallon of milk costs about $4. So it's easy to see how your purchasing power can decline if your savings don't keep up with inflation. The bottom line is that if there's no risk at all in your portfolio, then there's no chance of reward. Our financial system is pretty much built on the risk-reward model. Keep in mind, however, that all investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal, and there can be no guarantee that any investing strategies will be successful. Before we go on, I want to mention that there's no one size fits all here. That is, not all women will face all of these challenges. Obviously, there are many different life stages and characteristics that define women. Single, married, widowed, employee, small business owner, breadwinner, stay-at-home mom, empty nester, retired, knowledgeable investor, beginning investor, and so on. That being said, statistically speaking, a majority of women are likely to face at least some of these challenges that I've noted. So it's important for women to be aware of them as they move forward financially, regardless of the life stage they're in. Now, what are some of the things women can do to take responsibility for their financial well-being? Here are 6 steps. 1, take control of your money. 2, become a more knowledgeable investor. 3, advocate for yourself in the workplace. 4, plan for retirement. 5, protect your income and assets. And 6, create an estate plan. Let's look at each of these areas in more detail. Number 1, take control of your money. What does this mean exactly? Well, first and foremost, it means that no matter what life stage you're in, realizing that you have responsibility for your financial well-being. This means knowing what your cash flow is, what you have coming in every month and what you have going out. And some people choose personal finance software to track everything. Others prefer the good old pen and paper. Next, it means establishing a positive cash flow. You do this by budgeting, managing your debt wisely, and living within your means. Even in households where one spouse handles most of the bill-paying responsibilities and/or earns most of the income, the other spouse should be involved in budgeting and should know what outstanding debts there are and how quickly those debts are being paid off. Create an emergency fund. Part of budgeting is establishing an emergency fund so that you'll have money readily available to meet unexpected expenses. Without a financial cushion, you may have to use credit cards with high interest rates to meet sudden cash needs. And speaking of credit cards, you'll want to establish and maintain good credit because your credit score will determine the interest rate you receive when you borrow money. So how do you maintain good credit? Pay your bills on time and don't carry too many credit cards. Everyone is entitled to a free copy of their credit report each year from the 3 main credit reporting agencies. And it's a good idea to review your report periodically for accuracy. Next, set clear financial goals. Again, if you're married, this should be a team effort. Short-term goals may include making sure that your cash reserve is adequately funded or paying off outstanding credit card debt. Long-term goals might include saving for a new home, your retirement, or your child's college education. Once you've done all these things, you're ready to start saving and investing your money, which brings us to step number 2. Become a more knowledgeable investor. Some of you here today may have handled your family's finances all along, while others may be new to the world of investing. No matter what your level of expertise, there's always room to learn more and adjust your plan based on your current circumstances. Because many women will end up being solely responsible for their own financial well-being at some point in their lives, it is critical that they have a sound understanding of the investment world and the confidence to make appropriate investing decisions. Determining appropriate investment strategies isn't an exact science, but here are some steps you can take to help you get started. If you're a beginning investor, start by getting some basic information. You'll want to learn simple investing terms, concepts, and types of investments, such as the difference between a stock, bond, mutual fund, asset allocation, diversification, cash equivalents, dollar cost averaging, and the risk versus return dynamic. Take small steps and learn as you go. You don't have to do everything at once. Don't postpone getting started. The longer you wait, the fewer options you may have. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're a more experienced investor, make sure your portfolio is in line with your investing goals, time horizon, and risk tolerance. Look for ways to manage risk. The key is to try to help enhance investment returns at a level of risk that you're comfortable with. Understand what you own and what role each investment plays in your overall portfolio. And keep an eye out for investing ideas. Interestingly, women are often in a unique position to do this because typically they are in charge of most purchasing decisions for their households. So they already have an eye in the marketplace where they can observe products and consumer behavior. And consider the impact of taxes, fees, trading costs, and inflation. If you've amassed substantial assets, you might benefit from expert help in the areas of tax planning, estate planning, and asset protection. Make ongoing adjustments as needed to reflect your current circumstances. And have a game plan to avoid knee-jerk reactions in volatile markets. You don't want to be jumping ship on certain investments just because that's what everyone else is doing. Becoming a more knowledgeable investor includes other things too. It means being willing to admit mistakes, deal with them, and move on. There's a saying, good investors know how to take profits. Great investors know how to take losses. If an investment isn't working, sometimes it's better to cut your losses than hang on and hope for a turnaround that may never come. Be risk averse in the right way. While investing conservatively can be a good strategy at times, for long-term goals like retirement, it can be a liability. If you're investing far too conservatively than is appropriate for your goals and circumstances, you may find that you have less money than you hope for. Make the most of the years you have ahead to grow your wealth. If you're married, make sure both spouses know account numbers, passwords, and online access information for all investment and loan accounts. Sometimes one spouse assumes primary responsibility for investment decisions, whether by choice or habit, and it's important for the other partner to know how to access these accounts and be able to handle the bills and investment decisions if the first spouse is unable to do so. Know when to get professional help. Being a good investor doesn't mean you have to do everything yourself. A financial professional can help you create an appropriate investment strategy, select specific investments, and make adjustments as necessary. But of course, there's no assurance that working with a financial professional will improve the investment results. Now, I want to switch subjects and talk about step number 3, advocate for yourself in the workplace. This is important because in order to take steps toward financial security, you need a source of income. For many women, that income comes from their job. So what can women do to maximize their potential income? When possible, women need to negotiate their starting salary for 2 reasons. One, more money now means more money to potentially save and invest. And 2, your salary is the foundation on which other employee benefits are built. So for example, the percentage amount that you can contribute to your 401k plan or the death benefit you receive from your employer life insurance policy, these depend on your salary. For example, 10% of 70,000 contributed to your 401k is better than 10% of 60,000 or 50,000. So over many years, the amounts add up. Now, negotiating your starting salary doesn't mean you're going to get what you want. Some employers can't or won't negotiate at all, but you should be aware of the important role your starting salary plays in your overall financial picture. And you shouldn't be afraid to try to raise the bar. There are many websites and articles that offer tips on effective negotiation techniques. As women move forward in a job, they need to research your salary. Make sure you're getting paid what they're worth. This can be a bit tricky since it's not typical for employees to share salary information, although pay transparency is becoming more common. By looking at career and salary websites, you should be able to get an idea of what someone in your field earns with your same level of experience, education, and job responsibilities. Ideally, women should do this research when they're negotiating their starting salary. Women need to emphasize their work accomplishments, take on challenging assignments, and ask for raises and promotions when warranted. Typically, women are more likely to remain silent and wait for others to notice their hard work. And sometimes they wait and wait. Have confidence in your abilities, be proactive, and put yourself in the running for new opportunities when possible. And finally, women should request job flexibility if it means being able to stay in the workforce. Let's look at this last point in more detail. For many women, job flexibility is often a critical component of their overall employment. This can mean telecommuting for some, or all of the work week, an option that has become more accepted and widespread since the pandemic. Flexible hours, for example, working 7 to 3 instead of 9 to 5, and part-time work, or some combination of all of these. The pandemic shined a light on the importance of job flexibility for all employees, but especially for women who often bear a disproportionate share of caregiving and/or home responsibilities. Job flexibility can go a long way to helping women, especially mothers, stay in the workforce. Increasingly, women are seeking to blend their work and home lives in a satisfying way rather than an either-or scenario. And more employers are realizing that job flexibility can benefit all employees, not just working mothers, creating a very loyal and dedicated workforce. And I want to mention one final point here. For women who are juggling children and work, beware of the burnout factor that can result from having very full days and prioritizing everyone's needs over your own. For many women, working outside the home with young children is one of the hardest, busiest times of their lives. And in those moments when you're at your wit's end, try to take comfort in the fact that you are providing financially for your family and you're doing the best you can. And remember, by carving out time to take care of your own personal needs and interests, you will be in a better position to take care of your financial life as well. I'd like to move on to step number 4, plan for retirement. This is such a critical planning step for women. Unfortunately, women tend to have lower retirement plan balances, Social Security benefits, and pension benefits. So the number one thing women can do is to start saving now. The table here shows how $2,000, $5,000, or $10,000 invested each year might grow over time, earning a 6% rate of return. As you can see, the sweet spot to start saving is when you're in your 20s, but starting in your 30s and 40s isn't too shabby either. The important lesson to take away here is the earlier you start saving, the better. In addition to starting to save early, it's important to get in the habit of saving as much as you can, no matter what. Even if you're staying home to raise your family, you can and should save for retirement. Think of saving for retirement as putting yourself first. Get rid of excuses like, I'm too busy to plan. I don't know enough about investing. My partner takes care of our finances. I'll save more once my children are through college. Your retirement savings has to be a priority. And if your employer offers a retirement savings plan, such as a 401k or 403b plan, start contributing as much as you can. Having your contributions deducted directly from your paycheck can make it much, much easier to sock away money versus saving what you have left over at the end of each month. It may be hard initially to get a smaller paycheck, but paying yourself first will ultimately benefit you in the long run. And many employers will match a portion of the amount you contribute. If you're contributing the maximum amount to your employer retirement plan and you need additional options, or if your employer doesn't offer a retirement plan, or you're not currently in the workforce, consider an IRA. Traditional Roth and spousal IRAs can all be used to save for retirement and offer tax advantages. And set aside a savings goal that you can work toward and keep track of your progress. Monitor your investments and make changes as needed. A financial professional can help you here. Now, I want to talk about another very important part of retirement planning for women. Social Security. Social Security is the major source of guaranteed lifetime retirement income for most Americans. Guaranteed means that once you start taking monthly Social Security benefits, you will get that money every month for as long as you live. Now, every year, the trustees of Social Security publish a report on the solvency of the program, where they note that in its current form, Social Security won't be able to pay out the benefits in the future that people expect. Does this mean that Social Security will disappear entirely? Probably not. Does it mean that some changes are likely at some point in the future to maintain the program's solvency? Probably. Whatever changes happen is anyone's guess. All we can do is plan based on what we know today. So let's look at Social Security in a bit more detail. For some women, Social Security makes up most, if not all, of the income they have in their later years. Ever since 1940, when a legal secretary named Ida Mae Fuller received the first Social Security retirement check, women have been counting on Social Security to provide much needed retirement income. Social Security also provides disability and survivors benefits, but today we're just going to focus on the retirement benefits. So to qualify for Social Security retirement benefits, you have to work in a job that's covered by Social Security, and you generally need to have earned 40 credits, which is about 10 years of work. If you haven't worked long enough to qualify on your own, you may qualify for a spousal benefit based on your spouse's work record. A spousal benefit is generally equal to 50% of the primary earner's benefit. Now, how much can you expect from Social Security? The amount you'll receive from Social Security is based on the number of years you've worked and the amount of money you've earned. Your benefit is calculated using a formula that takes into account your highest 35 years of earnings. If you earned little or nothing in several of those years, it may be to your advantage to work as long as possible because you may have the opportunity to replace a year of lower earnings with a year of higher earnings, potentially resulting in a higher retirement benefit. You can get an estimate of what your monthly Social Security retirement benefit will be in the future by visiting the Social Security website and using the Retirement Estimator tool. Or you can view your personalized Social Security statement online. Your statement contains a detailed record of your earnings as well as estimates of your retirement, survivor, and disability benefit amounts. If you haven't registered online to view your statement, you'll receive one in the mail every 5 years from age 25 to 60, and then every year in the mail after age 60. The age at which you start claiming benefits will also affect the amount you receive. You can choose to start taking benefits as early as age 62, but if you do, your monthly benefit will be 25 to 30% less than if you had waited until your full retirement age. And that's age 66 or 67, depending on the year you were born. On the other hand, you will get a higher monthly benefit if you delay claiming Social Security benefits until age 70. If you do so, your monthly benefit will increase by 8% for each year that you delay taking benefits past your full retirement age. This chart illustrates what a hypothetical person might get by taking Social Security at different ages. It's based on a full retirement age of 67 and a benefit of $2,000 per month. As you can see, if you start taking benefits at 62, you'll only get $1,400 per month, a 30% reduction. But if you wait until age 70, you will get $2,480 each month, which is 24% higher. Remember, this monthly benefit is guaranteed every month for as long as you live. So, an important question as you approach your 60s is, should you begin taking Social Security as early as 62 and receive smaller payments, but possibly receive them over a longer period of time, or should you wait until your full retirement age or later to start taking benefits and receive larger benefits over a possibly shorter period of time? Well, there's no right answer. It's an individual decision that must be based on many factors, such as other sources of retirement income, your life expectancy, your marital status, whether or not you plan to continue working after you turn on your benefits, and your tax picture. A financial professional can help evaluate these factors. As a woman, you should pay close attention to how much retirement income Social Security will provide. And finally, as you approach and then enter retirement, there are some things you'll need to think about, such as when you'll retire, what your retirement expenses will be. Keep in mind that you can live a rich lifestyle in retirement if your expenses and outstanding debt obligations are modest. How you plan to deal with a shortfall if your retirement reserves are not sufficient. And healthcare expenses. Many people underestimate the amount they'll need to spend on healthcare in retirement. Even though Medicare covers most Americans starting at age 65, it does not cover every health care need. Longevity issues. Not only do women have longer life expectancies than men, but women also make up the majority of older Americans living in poverty, and women overwhelmingly outnumber men in skilled nursing facilities after age 65. Many people mistakenly believe that Medicare will cover their long-term care needs, but the fact is that Medicare only covers skilled nursing care for a short period of time. It does not cover ongoing custodial care, so you will need to plan for longevity. And finally, you'll need to understand your retirement plan distribution options, the best order to tap your accounts. What is a safe withdrawal rate so you don't live longer than your money lasts? As you can see, there's a lot to think about here. Now let's move on from retirement and talk about step number 5. Protect your income and assets. Women often overlook the need to do this. So how do you protect your income and assets from risk? Well, with insurance. Insurance transfers the risk from you and your family to an insurance company. Here are the types of insurance you should consider. Life insurance. Life insurance provides funds for your loved ones when you die, and yet many people who should have life insurance do not. Whether you're single, married, employed, or a stay-at-home parent, you can benefit from life insurance. Think about it. If you should die prematurely, would your family be able to maintain the same lifestyle that they have now? Life insurance can provide proceeds that can be used to replace your lost income or the value of services you perform at home. At the very least, it can help pay for funeral costs and outstanding debts and tax obligations that might otherwise be the responsibility of your family members. And life insurance can also play a key role for women who are business owners. Disability insurance. Disability insurance protects your income if you're unable to work for an extended period of time. Becoming disabled is a far greater risk than people think. If you are suffering disabling injuries tomorrow in a car accident, would you and your loved ones be able to survive without your income? A typical policy should replace between 50 to 70% of your income. Home and auto insurance. Most people are required to have this insurance by their lender or a state law. Along with protecting your property from damage, both home and auto insurance cover you for liability claims that result from accidents and injuries caused by you. If you have significant assets, you should also consider an umbrella liability insurance policy, which provides an extra layer of liability coverage above and beyond that provided by your home and auto insurance. Health insurance. It's mandatory now, but even if it wasn't, health insurance is critical to safeguard your assets from the high cost of health care, both routine and unexpected. Long-term care insurance. As we age, our need for long-term care increases. Long-term care insurance pays a certain dollar amount per day for a set period of time for the type of long-term care described in the policy. Depending on the benefits selected, care can be provided in a variety of settings, such as your home, assisted living facilities, and nursing homes. The best time to purchase long-term care insurance is when you're healthy enough to qualify for it. And finally, there are some instances where insurance alone might not provide all the protection you need, and other strategies may be useful, such as trust. If you have significant assets, a trust can help shield your assets from creditors, lawsuits, or other threats. Business entities. Many professionals, such as doctors, lawyers, and accountants, face liability for the damages that result from the performance of their professional duties. For added protection, forming a limited liability partnership or professional corporation is often advisable. The bottom line in all of this is that if you haven't developed and implemented an asset protection plan, your wealth and your assets are vulnerable to the risks that are part of everyday life. Last but not least, step number 6, create an estate plan. The words estate plan sound a bit intimidating, but an estate plan is simply a map that reflects the way you want your personal and financial affairs to be handled in the case of your incapacity or death. It allows you to control what happens to you and your property. For example, do you want to leave a legacy for your children or grandchildren? Do you want to donate a portion of your estate to charity? Do you want to ensure that your good friend gets your antique coffee table? Have you thought about what type of medical intervention you would want after an accident in the event you couldn't speak for yourself? By putting an estate plan in place now, while you still have the mental capacity to do so, not only will you have a say in what happens to you and your stuff, but you'll also make it easier for your loved ones to cope if something unexpected should happen to you, because your family members will know your specific wishes. Keep in mind, if you're married, your husband might not be there to know your wishes or to act on your behalf. What are some things women can do to plan? Let's look first at incapacity. Incapacity means being unable to make your own decisions. It's probably obvious that the risk of incapacity increases with age. Here are some of the most common documents that can help you in the event you're unable to make your own decisions. A living will. This is a document that lists the types of medical treatment you would want or not want under particular circumstances. Healthcare proxy. A healthcare proxy sometimes is called a durable power of attorney for healthcare, lets one or more family members or other trusted individuals make medical decisions for you when you are unable to do so for yourself. A DNR, or do not resuscitate order. This is a form signed by both you and your doctor that gives hospital staff permission not to resuscitate you. Together, these 3 documents are sometimes referred to as healthcare directives. Power of attorney. A durable power of attorney lets you name family members or other trusted individuals to make financial decisions or transact business on your behalf. A living trust is sometimes called an inter vivos trust, is a document that allows you to manage your trust assets while you're alive and capable, but that names a successor trustee to step into your shoes and take over management of the trust assets if you become incapacitated. It can be especially useful in cases where there are privacy needs or complex assets. All of these documents should be drafted by an attorney who specializes in estate planning. Now, planning for death, a topic no one likes to think about, but what should you consider having? A will. Your will is typically the cornerstone of your estate plan. It's a legal document that directs how your property is to be distributed at your death. In it, you can name an executor who will carry out your wishes as specified in the will and a guardian for your minor children. Most wills have to be filed in the local probate court and they become part of the public record. Testamentary trust. This is a trust created in your will and is called testamentary trust. It's a legal arrangement that allows you to provide various interests to different beneficiaries. For example, the trust might provide income to your children for life, with the remainder going to your grandchildren or to charity. Unlike your will, a testamentary trust is not part of the public record. An attorney should draft your will and trust. So, what happens if you die without a will? If you die without a will, your property will pass according to your state's laws, called intestacy laws. These differ from states to state. However, whether you will have a will or not, some property will pass automatically to another person. For example, any property that you own jointly with what's called the right of survivorship, for example, your house, will pass directly to the other joint owner or owners. Even if you have a will, jointly owned property will still pass automatically. That is outside your will to the other owner. Also, property that has a designated beneficiary, such as a 401k plan or a life insurance policy, will also pass directly to the named beneficiary outside your will. It's a good idea to review your beneficiary designations from time to time and make sure they still reflect your current wishes. And finally, property held in a trust will pass according to the terms set out in the trust, not through your will. So women with significant assets, more advanced estate planning may be necessary. This includes tax planning, specifically for the income tax basis of your property, along with planning for any gift tax, estate tax, and generation skipping transfer tax that may apply to the transfers of your property. I want to change subjects for a moment and now talk about unexpected obstacles. Unfortunately, life isn't always fair or easy. Things happen. Employees are let go. Children come along before we're ready. Couples divorce. Illnesses spring up. Adult children need financial help. Our parents need help. And spouses pass away. When you take steps to strengthen your financial future, not only will you be in a better position to enjoy life in the good times, but you'll be in a better position to also cope during the not so good times, which many of us are likely to face at some point in our lives. In fact, it's often during these stressful times that many women turn to a financial professional for help. In the end, it's all about you, your goals, your dreams, your security. What financial course will you chart? By taking the time now to plan for your financial future, you gain confidence knowing that you're doing all you can to provide for yourself and your family. Small steps can enhance your financial life one day at a time. Thank you for listening. We're here to help. Please feel free to reach out to us.